Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel, and thanks for logging on. Today we're discussing one of the most talked about watches of 2016, the FP Journe Elegante 48 in titanium. You can see this revolutionary FP Journe quartz tonneau case men's watch and purchase it on our website. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you enjoy these videos, and please click on the card in the upper right hand corner of the screen at any time during this video to see our full sales listing for this watch with additional accessories included, high resolution images, and of course complete pricing details for our offering of this watch. Now on my wrist, 6 1/3 inches, 16 centimeters in circumference, there are two things that come to mind. First, I look at this watch, and just as I thought when the ladies variant debuted in 2014, I just imagined that the Vagabondage case shape has come back to life. Celebrated but rare, the great Vagabondage 1 and 2 are reborn in a revolutionary quartz watch from Journe that wears incredibly compact on the wrist. Now, the 48 in the watch's name describes the Lug To Lug Dimension, and I appreciate that a manufacturer has finally forwarded this information, as I usually have to measure it independently. Now, the watch is incredibly flat on the wrist, though Journe considers this to be something of a men's sports watch. At only 7.5 millimeters tall with a slightly sloped bezel, it's incredibly easy to fit underneath any tight sleeve or formal cuff. So 48 millimeters from lug to lug, the watch measures 38 millimeters across the wrist from 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock, not inclusive of the crown. Now, all in titanium, it is extremely light, and the strap is one of the most comfortable that I have ever encountered. It's important to note that FP Journe absolutely nailed the ergonomics of this watch because of the case shape, which arcs around the wrist and projects minimally outward. At 48 millimeters lug to lug, this watch wears roughly like a 37 to 38 millimeter round watch. So I would say that a wrist as compact as 14 centimeters in circumference, maybe even 13.5, can wear this watch with comfort, proportion, and security. And of course, this strap, which beautifully closes the gap to the flank of the case, creating a very integrated look, is wonderfully supple. Now, on the underside, it features channeling with the FP Journe logo that allows sweat, moisture, and grit to escape on a hot day. It's also incredibly thin and fine. Again, one of the most comfortable I've experienced. This dark blue natural vulcanized rubber just feels luxurious on the wrist. The clasp itself is a hybrid of steel and titanium, built for security when closed, and lightweight. It complements the overall aesthetic of the watch, minimalist, light, and sporty. Now, the watch itself is immediately recognizable as a Journe, even if you're not familiar with the Vagabondage series, which I feel it sort of reincarnates and references. It's a handsome watch, with alternate brushed and polished surfaces for contrast, giving way to Journe's distinctive assembly screws, and on the dial, more hallmarks of the Journe manufacture, the classic blued biomorphic hands here rendered in titanium. Of course, the railroad-style minutes track outboard of the distinctive Journe-style Arabic numerals, and of course, on the flank, Journe's signature twin perforation knurled crown. It's a handsome watch, and it brings other elements in that are worthy of note, including a reprisal of Journe's use of screws on the dial, assembly screws on the dial being a signature of Journe dating back to the 1990s. And if you're wondering what this little device here at 4 o'clock does, that's the oscillating mass that actually wakes up the caliber 1210. More on that in a moment. I do want to give you an idea of just how spectacular this watch is, even when the lights are out. Conventionally, I don't do lume shots of non-dive watches, but this one is so sensational that it simply demands a special sequence here. So I'm going to phase out my lights for a moment. And quite frankly, it doesn't get any more spectacular than this. This is perhaps the lume shot to rule them all and end them all. And from FP Journe, a manufacturer best known for dress watches no less, this watch simply makes you smile. It has all the qualities of a luxury watch that you look for: beauty, longevity, ingenuity, and of course, with a look like this, even novelty. So we're going to bring the lights back on and take a look at the novelty on the case back. On the case back, you can see the machine that makes it all happen. Now, this is a unique application of quartz in an FP Journe watch, and you might be wondering, did Journe design and build a quartz movement? Well, it was done in conjunction with a Swiss engineering specialist, so everything is designed and executed in Geneva, but FP Journe makes no bones about the fact that it did go out of its manufacturer competence and bring in experts in microelectronics specifically for this project. But what you'll note is that the bridges, the plates, are executed in rose gold. The cover of the battery compartment, likewise executed in 18-karat 4N rose gold, with traditional hand-laid Côte de Genève, and you'll note even the printed circuit elements are beautiful, billowing, curved, and sensuous aesthetic components of the composition. Nothing is left to chance. This is one of the most self-consciously designed quartz calibers you'll ever encounter. Now, it has an 8 to 10-year battery life, and in standby mode, it has a potential 18-year shelf life. The battery is preserved by a system that effectively takes the watch offline, putting it to sleep after approximately 30 minutes stationary. Now, what happens is the microprocessor inside continues to keep track of the time, but the stepper motors that drive the hands at center and the seconds hand at 6 stop functioning. All stops, and only the deep electronic memory of the watch continues to tick over, so to speak. Now, what happens when you pick up the watch and this oscillating mass moves? The watch wakes up and the hands jump back into their correct position, regardless of how long the watch has been off the wrist. Now, that's impressive. Even more impressive is the fact that Journe boasts that this movement is perpetually serviceable by Journe watchmakers, designed just like its mechanical movements for the life of the user. With 18 jewels and a great deal of traditional Swiss watchmaking savoir-faire invested, this is a lifetime heirloom quality project, just as all of the mechanical watches from Journe can be considered. This was a project to provide something very different, as men clamored for a version of the Elegante after the ladies variant debuted. Everything, right down to the screw-down crown and the refinement of hacking or stop seconds for precise time setting, makes this watch an absolute pleasure to those who are hardcore, dyed-in-the-wool fans of traditional Swiss mechanical horology. You definitely need to give this one a chance, because it's quite possibly the most intriguing genre-blending watch of 2016 and possibly of the last 5 to 10 years. You can see it and you can purchase it on our website.